Alright YouTube, episode 3 of our Nemesis Scrambler build. We've had a bit of a change in plans. We're supposed to be fabricating the exhaust. However, I'm waiting on a few bits and pieces so we can fit the Electron carburetor up. That way I can work with clearances and stuff like that, so I don't want to be guessing. Instead, we're going to go ahead and mount everything that's on this bench on the bike. We got some Pro Taper handlebars and bar risers, a Koso digital speedo, and then the auxiliary lighting being the Purpose Built Moto orbit tail light and the dome indicators. So we're going to go through fabrication of the brackets and fitting up of all those parts. These orbit tail lights are an extremely simple design. When you're installing them, it's best to remove the lens and the LED unit. So you do that by popping the little circlip out, and then you can just remove the lens and LED module, set that aside. What I'm going to do with this is I've made that spacer up on the lathe now, so this will thread in, and then I'm going to bend up a piece of stainless steel bar that will loop from the existing tail hoop up and over and weld that onto there. So I've just bent up the stainless hoop and tack welded my little light mount on. I've just taken my first cut to trim this down and start fitting it on the tail hoop. And from here, it's just going to be a matter of trusting my eye, trimming this down until I've got it sitting evenly, and then I can tack weld it in place and then finally finish weld it up. So just finished making the mounts for the rear brake lights, and while I'm letting that cool before I assemble it, I'm going to go ahead and weld on my mounts for these LED turn signals. So I've gone out and cut some 20 by 3mm flat bar, drilled them out, polished them up so I can get ready to weld it. These are going to go on just before the stainless steel bar starts here, because this section of the frame will be powder coated. So I'm going to weld these on, and then we can chuck the LED indicators on. So when you're first learning to TIG weld, I think the hardest part is learning how to tack things without being able to hold anything. So I tend to, I'll clamp my workpiece and hold it on the frame with a pair of pliers or whatever, and then set my welder to, maybe 10 or 15 amps higher than what I would be welding at. And that way you get a nice quick tack, and then once you have one, you can sort of eye it up, get it in place, and come back and actually use both your hands to tack it properly. So I'm just about to fit up these Dome X 3-in-1 LED turn signals. These little units actually can function as a turn signal, a brake, and a tail light. On this one, because I've got the little orbit light up here, I'm not going to use the red LED inside these. Another feature of these lights is the removable spigot. So the spacing is set at these as they come out of the box at 15mm. So I tend to throw them on, check them for size, and then if you need to, you can always reduce or add to that offset. It just helps with getting your perfect alignment on these sort of things, which I think is pretty important. So now that we've buttoned the back up, moving on to mounting the front LED indicators. So with the light plate that we've built, it finishes nice and flush here with the forks. And we have a couple of mounting points to go from. We can go up the top, which I don't think is going to look real good. It'll probably stick out a little too far. Down on the bottom triple clamp though, you've got here as your clamping bolt, and then there's another M6 thread around the side here. So we can pick up this bolt hole here, build a bracket, fold it on an 90-degree angle, and then we can pick up that 6mm bolt too, which will stop it from pivoting. So we've got two fixing points, and then the LED indicator will sit just rearward of this fork so we can tuck it in nice and tight. Alright, so we've got the brackets fitted up now, and time for a bit of a test fit. As I was saying on the back, the spigots on these indicators, you can trim them back or add to them. So where this headlight plate sits, and with this spigot at 15 mil, it's going to be sitting out too far. So what I'm going to do is disassemble this, remove that little spacer, and then I'll trim it back so we can get a nicer fit. So what I've got here is the original spigot as it comes out of the box, and one that I've just trimmed down. So the hardware on these things are all stainless steel. You can cut this with a grinder and then file it smooth, or I'm lucky enough that I have a lathe in the shop. So I've taken the 15 mil factory spacer and trimmed that down to about 7 mil. Now I can fit it onto the bike and it's going to be a lot tighter. So always remember, from when I was a kid, me and my dad used to go out trail bike riding a lot, and whenever we'd come back, he'd be stuck in the shed for a couple of hours after, swearing at his bike because his plastic indicators had broken off. So when I was designing these lights, that was one thing I kept in mind, was to make sure these spigots are nice and strong, so if they ever get hit by anything, they're not going to break. So these lights come with complete stainless steel hardware, and the bodies are actually solid billet aluminium that's machined out to house the LED. So they're incredibly strong and durable, and I dare say that they'd snap your tree branch before they snap the indicator. So I've just done the bar swap on this thing just to make sure that when we mount our Koso digital speedo, it's going to be in the right spot. So from where the bars were mounted from factory, we've raised them up a little bit and then put some pro tapers on the front here. The headlight plate I cut asymmetrically, and as it so happens, when I mount this Koso gauge up, that will end up hiding our cable connection. So I guess we'll write that one up as a bit of a happy accident, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this headlight plate off now, and we're going to fabricate the bracket to mount this digital speedo. So just finished welding up the bracket that we're going to use to mount the Koso DB01 meter. We ended up picking up the mounting points that we used for the key barrel, so that's been removed and will be mounted further back on the bike. So now it's just a matter of putting these little rubber grommets in so I can mount the meter and slap it on the front of the bike. These Koso meters, I've used heaps and heaps of them now on different scramblers that I build. I really like the style of them because they're nice and square, they're pretty compact, and they're not very deep either, so they're easily hideable in behind your front plate, or even on the opposite side of your bars, like in between the bars and the tank. Rather than kind of trying to force a nice round meter in there somewhere, I'd prefer to use something digital, and these come with all the idiot lights that you need and indications as well. So in fitting this Koso gauge up, I've just hit a little issue. With the light plate that we've made for the front here, this right angle bracket actually impedes it. So the alignment up the top is right, but it's the in-between. So this right angle here, I'm gonna have to weld a bracing in between and then cut that right angle out so we can get the headlight plate mounted back originally where we had it. So what I've had to do here to fix this, I'll just sort of explain it to you. So this is the part that mounts up underneath the triple clamp. And this section here where the corner is was fouling on the headlight plate that sort of comes down at an angle. So I've welded this bracing in here, and now I'm going to cut that corner out, weld the other side and finish it back. It should be just as strong as it was before. So we actually burned through all our tasks today pretty damn quick. We got the tail lights on, we got the front indicators done, and we also got the speedo mounted and the bars finished too. So with a little bit of time we got left, I'm gonna whip off the exhaust, I'm gonna jack the bike up, and then we're gonna tear the wheels off. The coating that they use on these spokes always fades and deteriorates really quickly. So we're gonna cut the hubs out of the rims, strip the wheels, send them off to paint. We're also going to relace them with some stainless steel spokes. So we got the wheels off the Sol Invictus Nemesis. We're about to let all the pressure out of this tyre, and then we're going to cut the hubs out. I'll get the tyres ripped off the rims later. So just finished cutting the rims out of the hubs. Now, only step left is to give these a quick clean and mask the areas up that I don't need painted. And then I'm going to take these out for paint. In the meantime, I'll get the tyres ripped off, clean the rims up, and then get them ready to be relaced with some stainless spokes. Hit the like button and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes.